Hi, I'm Picky Apricot Steve Andrews, and I'm going to show you how to export your Wild Apricot financial data to QuickBooks. You can use Wild Apricot to manage your accounts receivable, but to manage your general ledger or accounts payable, you'll need a dedicated accounting system such as QuickBooks. So you can transfer financial data, invoices, payments, refunds, donations, etc., and customer records. Wild Apricot provides an export feature to QuickBooks. Before you generate an export file, you must properly set up both QuickBooks and Wild Apricot. As part of the export file, Wild Apricot uses QuickBook classes to classify transactions. If you want to organize transactions by class, you must first turn on class tracking in QuickBooks. You do not have to set up your classes in QuickBooks before importing from Wild Apricot. The appropriate classes will be automatically created as part of the import process. However, you should set up any accounts that you want to update with your Wild Apricot data. Otherwise, the accounts will be automatically created in QuickBooks as a bank account. If you do not already have your customers set up in QuickBooks, you should export your customer records from Wild Apricot and import them into QuickBooks before importing transactions. Before you import data from Wild Apricot into QuickBooks, you should create a backup of your current QuickBooks data. To set up Wild Apricot to export to QuickBooks, you go to the QuickBooks Export Settings screen. To display the QuickBooks Export Settings screen, hover over the Finances menu, then select the QuickBooks option. Here, you can control how customers are identified, choose the accounts to be updated, and specify the classes to be used to classify transactions in QuickBooks. From the QuickBooks Export Settings screen, click the Edit button to enter edit mode. To control how customers are identified in QuickBooks, you enter one or more macros in the Name field under Customer. You can also specify the customer's billing address by adding a macro that points to a custom contact field. For each type of transaction, invoice, payment, refund, and donation, you specify the account to be updated and the class used to categorize the transaction. After you have properly set up both QuickBooks and Wild Apricot, you can filter the data you want to export, preview the transactions, and generate the export file. The first step in the export process is to filter the data you want to export. To export invoices or payments and refunds, select the Invoices option or the Payments and Refunds option from the Finances menu. To export donations, hover over the Donations menu and select the Donations option. To filter the data by date, select the predefined date range from the Select Range drop-down, or enter the start and end dates of the range in the two fields to the right. In either case, click the Apply button to apply the date filter. To filter by transaction type, click the Filter drop-down and select the type of transaction you want to view. If you want to view transactions for a particular contact or set of contacts, you can enter a search string in the search field. After you click the Export to QuickBooks button, you can choose between exporting the currently displayed transactions, exporting all transactions, or choosing a different set of filter options. If you want to export the currently displayed transactions, make sure the Export Current Filtered List radio button is selected. If instead you click the Export All Transactions radio button, you will export all invoices, payments, donations, and refunds, regardless of what screen you currently are on. You can export the complete set of transactions or filter it by date or transaction type. You can also sort the data by any combination of transaction type, date, and customer name. To preview the transactions to be exported before generating the export file, click the Preview Transactions button. When you are finished filtering and previewing the data, click the Export Transactions button to export the currently displayed transactions, or click the Export Customers button to export the contact records associated with the transactions. Whether you choose to export transactions or customers, the data will be exported to an Iif Intuit Interchange Format file. You can import the generated Iif file into QuickBooks 2002 or later. You must be logged in as the QuickBooks administrator and in single user mode. If you have not created users and roles in your company file, you are logged in as the admin user by default. To import an Iif file into QuickBooks 2002 and later, select the Utilities option under the File menu, then click the Import option. Now, click the Iif Files option, select the file to be imported, and finally, click the Open button. Your transactions will now be imported and assigned to accounts and classes according to your Wild Apricot export settings. Note that because of limitations with the Iif file format, links between invoices and payments will not be maintained. To restore them, you must open each imported payment in the Receive Payments window and apply it to the appropriate invoice. This will mark the invoice as paid. If you do not assign a payment to an invoice and mark the invoice as paid, it will not show up in any reports. Thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful.